Carl, thanks very much for joining me. It seems so long ago that you were fighting outdoors in the Titanic Quarter against Kiko Martinez for the first of your world titles in your rematch with Kiko. It just seems so long ago, Carl. Does it seem long ago in your head, or is it just me?
No, it does. It seems like it's a long time. Yeah, and it was 2014. That was a really special night, you know, first world title. Just the, the fact that it was in Belfast as a challenger, the fact that it was a purpose-built arena, the fact that from the ring, Tiger's Bay, you could see it in the distance. Like it's a stone throw really from the shipyard. So it was just an ideal setting to win my first world title.
And one man who was on the undercard is going to join us now and talk through not just the night, but actually talk through the fight. We're joined now by Jamie Conlan. That particular night at the Titanic Quarter, Jamie, you'd been on the undercard for the first Kiko Martinez fight inside the Odyssey, which was a very emotional night. But that particular night at the Titanic Quarter, what are your memories of getting to the venue and walking out to the ring?
There was an aura, always an aura. In Ireland, there was an aura around Kiko Martinez as this mini Mike Tyson when he came over when he silenced the Point Arena, beating Bernard Dunn. People forgot he lost to Brendan Monroe twice and no one cared. So when Carl beat him the first time in the Odyssey, I thought it was his coming of age party. He really stepped into his own. The build up for the fight, everything around it, with the Ulster Hall being as the weigh-in, it was different. It wasn't your average boxing night. It was something around. The buzz in the city was exceptional. It was a nervy night anyway, but it was like unfamiliar surroundings. Everything was different. You were outdoor. It was September, but it was fantastic.
It's time for the big one. It's the IBF Super Bantamweight Championship of the World. Would you welcome now the challenger from Belfast, Northern Ireland, Carl the Jackal Frampton.
So at this point, Carl, you've been introduced. There's 16,000 people there. You've been boxing since you was a baby. You're coming out. What's going through your mind as you're standing there looking out? What's going through your mind?
I don't really know, to be honest, Steve. I'm not going to try and spoof and tell you what I remember because I don't remember too much about it. But obviously, you're just focused on the fight at that stage and wanting to win. I remember the coldness, like Jamie had mentioned it earlier. I remember being really cold here at this point. Obviously, when you're fighting, you warm up. But I think the sea breeze blowing in between rounds actually kept me fresh the whole way through the fight. Much easier to fight them 12 rounds than it would have been in a really hot Odyssey or a really hot York Hall, somewhere like that. So the sea breeze was actually pretty nice. But I don't remember what I was thinking. Here, my ma tries to hug me here, coming up to the ring. I don't ever remember hugging my ma in my life ever before. And I remember seeing her coming to do it, to give me a hug. And I didn't want to push her away, but I did. I didn't. I remember thinking, what the f are you doing? Like I think when I stood in the ring, I thought, if I get beat here, she's getting blamed for that hug.
Carl, was he any different in this fight? You know, was he any different? This is round three. We picked up in round three. Did he feel any different in the opening 3 rounds than the man you'd beaten in the Odyssey the year earlier?
No, well, I don't know. I think that there was less of he wasn't as keen. He wasn't as aggressive as he was in the first fight, and I think that was because I knocked him out in the first fight. Even though it worked a lot of rounds for the European title fight that we had, it worked for him in a lot of them rounds. But he wasn't as aggressive. He wasn't as keen to come forward, and I think that's simply just because I'd knocked him out before. And I remember actually at the weigh-in, there's a big difference at the weigh-in in the Ulster Hall. Like, I have a picture of this, and the weigh-in for the first fight at the Europa, he was doing, you know, I'm going to kill you gestures, and he was really up for it. In the Ulster Hall, I put it on him a bit, and he looked away. I almost think you never win a fight away in, like, but I knew that he wasn't mentally as up for that fight as he was for the European title fight because I'd already beaten him.
Well, see, at the weigh-in, I got stuck in between his crowd, and I can understand Spanish and speak a little bit of Spanish. Every single one of them were trying to like G him up, something shocking. He didn't speak a word, and he was just trying to get a drink into him. They were all saying like you bossed that, you were the boss there, you were the gaffer kind of thing. But I don't think he truly believed it.
I slipped here. He hit me in the back of the head. I remember that.
Yeah, that's a good free shot he takes at the back of your head there. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was a good one, but I got led away with that one because I think I cut him the round before with my own head, so it was kind of evened it up a wee bit. But he's piling it on. Like, I think he thought there, even that wee bit where he knocked me down, and I just slipped, but he thought something like that can change the dynamics in a fight, can't it? And just give someone a wee bit of momentum, even though it wasn't a shot that knocked me down. And see that touch of gloves as well. That's all. That's me, playing games with him. Touch gloves. Let's be mates now again. You know what I mean? Calm down a bit, son. Yeah. And he touched my glove. So I think this is where I drop him here, coming up.
It's a good shot over the top. You look for it for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, but even at this point, and I remember thinking, I'm not going to go too mad here. The round's almost over. I'm not going to try and blow him away because I don't think he was that hurt. I think he recovered pretty well.
Because you catch him with the same shot, not the exact same shot, but the same right hand several times after he's knocked down as well.
Yeah, and he took it well. And I think something that Kiko, he's got that marauding come forward style, but he's actually pretty hard to hit clean. Like, he raids shots very well and he moves his head well coming forward. It's hard to hit him really, really clean. Like, they hit him the top of the head and a lot of glancing blows and hit him the shoulders and stuff. So he's a better fighter than he gets the credit for, Kiko.
And at ringside, Jamie, are you sensing him? Obviously, as Carl said, he's way in front. Are you starting to celebrate now? You started to relax from the 5th round, but are you celebrating now?
No, you're relaxed, but you're still on edge because of the previous fights that Kiko's been involved in, and he can turn it around one punch at any time. And he gave Carl some problems in the first fight with his power. So, but you had a sense of just a bit of calmness, but he had to be aware at all times, which he was.
The crowd at this stage, Jamie, and I remember it. I mean, everybody was standing up. I was standing up. Everybody on the broadcast team was standing up because it was that type of night. It was that type of last round.
Yeah, well, it was on the edge of your seat because you were at the very end of what was to be a momentous night, momentous occasion. The build-up was, as we spoke about earlier, was exceptional, was different to all the rest. So at this moment, everyone just is praying that the bell goes, and that's it. As he tried to finish him there, you were all so worried because Kiko was swinging back with him. So yeah, you could feel the anxiousness of everyone, but also the elation ready to explode.
I was punctured for the rest of the round here as well.
I looked at eye. When you're leaning over and you're tucking up like that, that's usually a sign that the gas is gone.
The crowd really starting to enjoy it there. You can sense that. That's that last minute, that last 30 seconds. That must have been fantastic hearing that, Carl. As focused as you were, it must have been just glorious.
Yeah, I think I probably just realised that the fight was close to the end. You're just, at this stage, you're just wanting the final bell to go. I don't think, I tried to stop him there, but he wasn't going anywhere. So it's almost like stealing a few seconds here and there, just hopefully that the bell goes here at any point.
The crowd's at that point where they cheer every single thing you do, even if you just nudge your shoulder, they cheer. I love that.
He's hit me with 3 shots, and I've hit him on the arm with 1, and I get a cheer. It's good for the home fighter, like.
You know you've won the title there, Carl. I mean, two of the judges will give it to you by, 11 points, one by 7. You know you've won the title there. Can you allow yourself to celebrate at that point? Or is there something in you saying, just wait for them to raise my hand, just wait for that moment?
I don't know. I knew I had, like, I felt like I won it convincingly. There was a knockdown in there as well. I'm at home. Nobody's cheering for him. Yeah. Do you know what? Look at that. And that annoys me. See Craig Stevens, and I'm going to have a bone to pick with him. So my dad brought my daughter into the ring. And how nice would it have... She was asleep, but how nice would it have been to get a photograph with my daughter in the ring? Craig Stevens told him to get out.
No.
What's it got to do with Craig Stevens?
The MC.
The MC? What's it got to do with him? I missed an amazing opportunity for one of the best photographs of all time. And Craig Stevens, his fault.
Well, it's got nothing to do with him, and that you pointed it out to me is the first time. But forget that moment, and you're right, that was a lost opportunity. Your hands raised, the crowd can relax.
Here,
you are the world champion.
There he is. That was him telling him to get out. Sorry. Nah, it was great. A world champion. Unreal. My whole family were, my mum and dad. My dad never gets into the ring or does anything like that, and he was in the ring, and my wife's in the ring. She never gets in the ring. There's everyone's in the ring. It was unreal. It was unreal.
Jamie, thank you so much for your time. We're going to speak now to Michael Conlan. Mike, thanks for finding time to join us. So what went down Carl Frampton show? A major part, I would have thought, of your growing up, the last 6 or 7 or 8 years of big fights in Belfast. What's it been like being at those fights? What's it been like watching those fights?
It's been unbelievable, and it is all down to this man here, Carl. It's been his shows, it's been his atmospheres, it's been special. Someone who I've looked up to for many years, someone who I've wanted to follow in his footsteps, and every time you go to the show, you're just like, geez, I can't wait for it to be me. I can't wait for it to be me. And he brought big time boxing back to Belfast and held it there for a long, long time.
And you had that phenomenal outdoor show a couple of summers ago. It seems like forever ago, doesn't it, that we were in the Falls, and that was that brilliant night outdoors. So that was all part of that same tradition. But your brother was talking earlier about how before Carl, it was leisure centres, and maybe this fight or maybe a big fight was promised. But suddenly with Carl, and I know you're there, Carl, I don't want to embarrass you. It was like we were guaranteed, the Royal we were guaranteed fights. We were guaranteed big nights.
I think, like, for me, being Jamie's brother and him being on Carl's undercards, I don't think he'd be boxing today if it wasn't for Carl coming through, because he wouldn't have had the opportunities which he had. And it was due to Carl having the shows in Belfast and bringing the exposure to every fighter who was on that undercard. The reason why most of them are probably still boxing today or still involved in boxing is because of him. So, it is a bit awkward speaking about something I'm trying to, like, it makes people feel a bit like, oh, why is he talking about me like that? But you are, like, what you've done for the city and what you've done for every fighter in the city has been unbelievable over the last 10 years.
Thank you very much, mate. It's nice to hear. And just see, before you go on there, Steve, talking about atmospheres and stuff, I was, when Mick fought on the Falls Park, I was in Philly getting ready for that fight that never happened when I broke my hand, and we all gathered around to watch it in a wee Irish pub in Philly, and my missus was there, and she'll tell you it's the best boxing atmosphere she's ever been to. She described it. She described it as a rave with a wee bit of boxing in the background.
Michael, it's been a delight and a pleasure and humbling talking to you tonight. We'll see you soon, and hopefully at some point this year we'll have an enormous night out with you crowned as the new champion.
Definitely.
Michael, thanks so much for your time.